Don't mess with me, pork chop. What day is this?
It's February 2nd. Groundhog Day.
You know, I thought it was yesterday.
Oh.
Welcome back to Thinking Critical. This is Wes. And yesterday we promised a Children of the Atom issue number 2 review, and today you're going to get it. This is Vita, Ayala, and Bernard Chang's masterpiece within Reign of X. And here with me to talk about this is the X-Men historian, the Marvel aficionado. Doc, how you doing?
I am wonderful, and I am so glad to be here to review this magnum opus of Vita Ayala.
Somehow it's not as good as the first issue, and one of the big reasons is it's essentially the first issue retold once again with a few new details.
It is. I read this and I'm like, it's literally just the exact same plot beats as the first issue, except for told in a different order.
Yeah.
And
they introduce you to one character this time. You actually get to meet a character.
Yeah, you get to know. Yeah, you get to know information about Gabe. What do you expect? Yeah. He is.
Hey, Doc. We got to get to it.
All right.
Nope, we're not ready for the spoilers yet. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about the art from Bernard Chang. I'm a big Bernard Chang fan. I feel like he's being wasted on this book, but his illustrations of Storm and Mystique are not flattering.
No, honestly, his faces in this issue are less than flattering for anybody. I mean, Carol looks terrible. Storm looks terrible.
Mystique has a 5-head.
Yeah, Mystique has a 5-head. Granted, though, she's always been rocking that like widow's peak thing. So she kind of has like just a 4-head in the middle, but then like a 6-head on either side. She's got the Rob Liefeld hairline from old school Rob Liefeld stuff.
He highlighted it in the worst possible way, and
he really
the art
did.
Is far superior than the story, though. Even though I think this is not Bernard Chang's best.
Yeah, this is. I mean, it was definitely less than his top effort. It could be a lot on the coloring too, like the inking and coloring, because it's just not very good across the board. There's problems everywhere when it comes to the art in this story.
The reason I picked this page wasn't just to highlight the 5-head on Mystique, but I did want to also talk just a little snippet of the terrible dialogue. We don't have enough time to dive into all the bad dialogue, but here's just one highlight. This gives you a little idea what you're going to be getting in this comic book. Storm, Mystique, I require your assistance. Mystique, I can't pretend I'm not intrigued. Who the fuck talks like that, Doc?
Nobody. This is, I mean, look, even during the highest of the Purple Prose era of Chris Claremont, or the bunch of guys that you were just friends with that you just hired to be writers in the early Image days, that weren't actually writers and were pretty terrible at it. Not even then did we get stuff that was that much not like humans actually talk, like, or real people actually talking to each other. Now I get it. Like they've decided to take this whole mutant supremacist thing and just straight up run with it. Cap tries to call Storm Aurora, which has never been a problem in history until now. And she's looking her damn nose down at Captain America and telling him to only call her by her mutant name of Storm. There's been a lot of, well, we're not human, we need to do things in a mutant way. Conversation is still done in it doesn't matter what your race or your species is. English is English. The way that they're talking here, Mystique, I require your assistance. I can't pretend I'm not intrigued. No one talks like that.
So during this confrontation here, during they're talking about this new law that was introduced and outlawed, where teenagers aren't allowed to be superheroes, and they're like, these are mutant teenagers. Speaking of the Children of the Atom, this team that nobody is certain what they are, they're like, you can't, use your human laws against them. And then later on in the story, they, these dipshits pretty much explain why this law is necessary, because there's a prison breakout going on. They're like, we need to get there in the next 10 minutes before the Avengers get there. It's like, if you think the Avengers are going there, why the fuck are you going, idiot?
Yes, exactly. And the irony of Captain Marvel being concerned about, let's just say,
centers.
children's re-education centers and enforcing unjust laws is just staggering. Like, Vita, sorry, no one's going to forget you. I know you probably love Carol for all the girl power stuff, but no one forgets that she's a sociopath that ran a children's Gitmo for crimes they didn't commit yet during Civil War II. Oh, and Tony's there too. By the way, hey, Tony, remember whenever you criminalized all superheroes that weren't registered? Somehow you got a problem with teenage superheroes, enforcing a law on teenage superheroes on this one? Yeah, I doubt it. The only one that has any leg to stand on here on moralizing about this law is Captain America. And even he really doesn't, because he's just a cosmic cube memory.
Yeah, he's not the real Cap. So, Doc, we have to talk about the graphic info pages. Now, I've had it up to here. You know this, right?
Yeah.
Vita Ayala took it to another level. The two graphic info pages that we have on this one of them is Gabe, I think his name's Cherub's workout routine, and the other is a poster for a Dazzler concert. I paid money for this. This was charged like it was a page of comic book art and story. This is bullshit.
You know what? Ever since Hickman let Tinny Howard get away with doing it with fucking poetry for no reason in Excalibur, this is the end result. And you know what? It's going to get even worse. By the end, we're going to start seeing goddamn recipes.
Well, you know we're going to get some recipes in the Hellfire Gala.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to get recipes, and we're going to get...
puffs look amazing. How do I make those myself?
This is complete waste of money. And you know what? Anybody that actually wants to read this book, just out of principle of them wasting your money on these with stuff and infographs and info pages like this in these books, sail the high seas to do it. Don't give them a dime, because they're stealing from you.
This Instagram post, I think it's Instagram. Well, they're no longer doing likes; they're doing fist bumps.
Honestly, and anybody that sticks infographics in or social media nonsense in a comic book, your comic deserves to be burned.
So let's get into it. We do meet a character this time, Doc. And did you know that Gabe is more than meets the eye?
Yeah,
he's not just the athletic black teenager that he's with a single mother that struggles in school. He's none of that, Doc. He's more than meets the eye. He literally is the perfect person in the history of the world. His dad's not there because he died of cancer. He's been doing trigonometry since he was 5 years old. He's the smartest motherfucker on the planet. And, he's the sweetest can be. He defies.
And he loves his mommy.
Yes,
he loves his mommy and respects his mommy. It seems like she's really implying a lot. Like, nobody's supposed to do that. You're not supposed to look at a character and decide that because he doesn't have a dad, Jesus, that's terrible.
It is terrible. And you know what's worse, Doc?
What?
Mary Sue's, or in this case, a Gary Stu, he's already perfect. There's nothing to improve upon, Doc.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's not like he's struggling to balance his work life or his superhero and academics. He's not, he forgot to pick up his little, I couldn't tell, his little sister from something because he was out fighting crime and his mom had to leave work early or something. There's none of that. There's literally no flaws to the character. How do you improve
He's
upon
the
that?
most boring milquetoast character that you can imagine, and very emblematic of a lot of the new characters that we're getting introduced in comic books nowadays.
It is, and I mean, it's like she decided. Like, I hate everything about this. Do you just assume that everyone that read this was racist? Like, what the hell?
Interesting stuff. So that's Gabe. He's quite boring. I don't know why any teenage these aren't millennials. These are Zoomers would want to be named Cherub. They're a superhero, but that's beyond me. They go to this Dazzler concert, and we meet this guy, Cole. This feels like it was somewhat important. It was kind of out of nowhere. It just kind of happens. From what I can understand, this is the way I'm interpreting, Doc, was that this kid's cancer was cured by Krakoan medicines.
I'm leaning towards probably you're right, or I'm
Maybe
still
it's
thinking
black market Krakoan medicines that are knockoffs, and they're going to turn him evil or something.
or it's going to, I still get the feeling that it has something to do with Sinister and giving them powers and whatnot, or one of the Sinister clones.
I'm talking about Cole, the friend that was dying.
I know, and that he got experimented on by Sinister. I don't know if it was necessarily with the flowers. No, I think because he went
has anything to do with Sinister. Any of it.
It's just a gut feeling. I'm probably wrong.
You're wrong, because you're expecting some type of progression from the stories that were introduced in House of X and Powers of 10. And I know Vita Ayala has no intention of doing that. This is
more flower drugs.
X-Men and using them as a trans metaphor rather than a minority metaphor.
Yeah, you know what? Fine. I will agree with you on that. That's what it's going to be, because actually doing something that would make sense plot-wise with all the stuff that we introduced back then, God forbid that.
Yeah.
I'm also super confused about the timeline in this comic. These kids are what? Ostensibly 16, 17, 15, something like that. And they're that Gabe dude was talking about his mom being a fan of Lila Shenny when she was in high school. So obviously that was like, 15, 20 years ago. Lila Shenny didn't even show up until like inside the Marvel Universe 8 to 10 years ago. Unless she had him when she was like in middle school, for her to be a Lila Shenny fan in high school, this doesn't make sense.
Maybe she was an accelerated student like Gabe himself.
And even Dazzler.
I think he's supposed to be important, and I think he's been cured by Krakoan medicines. We do need to get to this big plot, I guess. It's the battle of the Children of the Atom versus the Hell's Bells. Have you seen this before, Doc?
Yes, I watched this in the first issue of this series, and now we're just doing it at the end of the second issue of the series. And
hey, Doc, I gotta ask you a question. Did you notice Daycrawler has changed his name?
Yeah, now he wants to be called Nighty Nightcrawler.
They somehow made it worse.
Yeah, well, he was talking about that. He was calling himself that in the first issue when he punched one of the Hell's Bells in the face. Now he's actually calling himself. None of this makes any. This is terrible. Everything about this is terrible.
That's the same battle that we saw in the first issue, except this time because Briquette is there, they don't win. But who gives a shit? We've already seen this battle before. And then Storm arrives to save the day, and she offers the criminals that were in prison a place in Krakoa, and they're like, "You're leaving us here to rot." She's like, "Listen, we offered amnesty to whoever chose to, come with us. You never accepted our offer, but now that you've accepted it, you can come with me, and you don't have to be in prison anymore."
So the X-Men, I mean, look, they are straight up villains at this point. They're assisting in jailbreaks, because at the end of this, that jailbreak that was started by the Hell's Bells got continued and completed with the assist of the X-Men, because at the end they've broken out of jail. And then we get to see Storm play the exact same role as Pixie and Magma in the first issue, telling them how great they are and how they totally need to come to Krakoa because it's awesome there.
We're here for you whenever you're ready. You just come to Krakoa, and they're like, whoa. Because they're not mutants, they know that they can't go through the portal. And guess where we end this episode, Doc?
In the exact same way we did the first issue, with them standing at a damn portal about to go through. And it's the same portal at Coney Island. Jesus Christ. I want to see how they write the exact... At this point, I'm interested. And only because I want to see how they write the exact same story in the third issue, too.
It's like Groundhog Day. But
yeah,
not fun.
No, it's Groundhog Day with all of the humor of an Amy Schumer movie and none of the soul of Bill Murray.
Yep, and it's got a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of words. We did not highlight that because we just didn't have time. There's enough stuff to talk about here. This is a really bad comic. I give it I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5, and I'm being very generous. It should probably be a 1.5. But I'm going to be nice, and I do not recommend this comic. It sucks.
Honestly, I'm giving it a 0.5 star exclusively for Bernard Chang's art. But even then, I can't give it more than a 0.5 star because it wasn't.
You're right, Doc. I'm downgrading it to 1.5 star comic. I can't in good conscience give this a 2 star. This is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, 2 star at least has something redeemable.
Well, this has a story that's coherent. Yeah. There's not really anything coherent about this.
But I mean, I'm definitely going to check out the third one. Again, I'm going to sail the high seas.
This is awful.
Because I want to see exactly how they're able to write the exact same plot beats in a third issue. I want to see who shows up to tell them they're awesome and invite them to Krakoa again. I want
Wolverine to show up and take them all underneath his wing and adopt them.
Yeah, I want to see how the Hell's Bells show up again to get fought and kick the shit out of this team. I want to see how they I want to see how the fat guy doesn't subverts expectations of
I want to see his workout schedule, Doc.
Yeah. I want to see how he subverts whatever racist expectations we're expected to have for him. And I want to see how they can choose to not go through the gate again at the end.
They're not choosing. I'm telling you, they can't. They're not mutants. They're humans. So, all right, that's the story, Doc. We will be back. We will review Show of the Atom 3 because when it's this bad, you can't look away. It's a train wreck. It's car wreck.
Yeah, it's the worst Groundhog's Day of the X-Men.
If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. I would appreciate it very much. It helps us attract more views for the channel. Subscribe for future commentary, comic book news, and reviews. And don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. If you want to talk comics, movies, and much, much more, you can follow me on Twitter at Wes_from_TC. With that, Salamat Po, and I'm out.